So, hi guys and welcome to the Unquendor Guitars workshop. My name is Daniel and this is another part in the video series where I'm building one of my custom Nessa guitars. And in this episode it's time to put some high gloss lacquer onto this guitar. Yeah, in a previous episode I already prepared the guitar so it's sanded to perfection and everything I don't want to get covered in the lacquer has been masked. So the guitar is ready to go. And on this guitar, of course, I'm going to use the Nitorlack Nitro cellulose primer and high gloss lacquer. And yeah, once again, a big shout out to Nitorlack for supporting the channel and sponsoring this video by supplying me with everything I need to get this guitar to a high gloss finish. So if you like these products, want to give them a try yourself or want more information, please use the links in the video description down below to all these products. And if you happen to purchase these products by using those links, you'll be supporting me and the channel at no extra cost. So thank you very much. Check out those links and now head over to the spray booth. So here we are at my improvised spray booth, and for anyone who followed along with the Phoenix Rising build already knows this spray booth, but if you're new to the channel, this is just a simple pop-up wardrobe from IKEA, and I fitted a extraction fan on top, and this is a perfect spraying solution if you're in a small workshop and you have to take down your spray booth all the time. This just folds up and I can put it away in the closet until I need it again, and it's big enough to spray one guitar and prevent any nasty overspray all over your shop. So perfect solution for a small shop. And besides a spray booth, another thing to keep in mind is the environment you're spraying in, especially temperature and relative humidity. And currently in my shop it's a nice 19 degrees Celsius and a 52% relative humidity, which are the perfect conditions to spray the Nitorlack primer and lacquer. So hopefully I can maintain that temperature and that relative humidity here in the workshop. Now let's start spraying the first coats on the guitar. Of course I need to start by rattling the can, and the reason I'm using a spray can or a rattle can instead of a spray gun is that I want to show you guys how you can get a professional finish with just some basic tools in a very simple and basic setting. So that's why I'm using rattle cans on this finish for now. And of course, before you start spraying, use a mask. First thing I'm going to spray is the top, the sides, and then do a light dusting with the primer. Yeah. Now with the first coat on, I'm going to leave it for about 2.5 hours, and then I'm going to spray another coat, only now going in a vertical direction. The first coat of primer looks great and it's been curing for about 2.5 hours now, so it's time to spray a secondary coat of primer. And I'm spraying the 2 coats of primer straight after each other to build up a bit of extra thickness that helps me with level sanding. The primer needs to be level sanded before the clear coat, and having a bit more primer on the first time helps me to level sand without going through the primer. And then I think I need to apply at least another 2 coats of primer, level sanded before clear lacquer. So let's put on a mask and spray the secondary coat of the primer. It's been at least 16 hours since I sprayed the last coat of primer, and in my spraying conditions this is more than enough time for the primer to cure enough to be level sanded with some 400 grit sandpaper. And a little eraser to use as a sanding block, and very carefully start sanding the top surface of the guitar. So after sanding, I made sure the guitar is once again dust free, and while I was sanding the guitar at this stage I was not too afraid to go through the finish. I really wanted to make sure there were no drips, no dips, no imperfections visible in the first coats of the primer. So now I'm going to take the spray can, rattle it for a minute, and then I'm going to spray another 3 coats of primer, each coat 2.5 hours apart, and then after 16 hours we're going to repeat the process of fine sanding, and then we'll decide whether or not we need to do another couple of coats of primer, or that all the pores and everything is filled up with primer and it's time to spray the clear coat. But first, some primer. So it's time for the last coat of primer for today, and what I'm looking for with the primer is to get a nice and smooth surface and try to fill up all these leftover grain marks. It's been a couple of days since I sprayed on the last coat of primer, just to make sure everything is nicely cured before I'm going to once again take out my 400 grit sandpaper and try and smooth out the surface of this guitar as best that I can. And then it's finally time to start applying the first coats of the high gloss lacquer, and I can't wait to see this guitar done. So let's get busy sanding to a smooth surface. Yeah, like I said guys, and maybe I'm repeating myself, but at this stage I'm not looking for a mirror finish or anything like it. I'm just looking for a smooth finish, smooth to the touch, and make sure there are no dust nips caught in the primer or no drips or anything. So just a smooth surface, and I try to have the least amount of scratches as possible with 400 grit sandpaper. There will be tiny scratches visible sometimes from the 400 grit, but try to not overdo it at this stage. We don't want to remove all the coats of primer we painstakingly put on. So just get a smooth surface. So, shake the Nitorlack high gloss lacquer very well for at least 2 minutes, and then I'm going to apply the first coat, and I'm going to use the same interval in between coats like I did with the primer. So I'm first going to spray a light coat, wait 2–2.5 hours before applying a consecutive coat, again wait 2–2.5 hours, apply a third coat, and then after 16 hours I will decide whether or not I need to sand in between. If there are no obvious defects, dust nips or drips, I will do the same straight away after approximately 16 hours. I will spray again 3 coats with 2.5 hours in between, and then I will do that till I have about 9, maybe 12 coats of the lacquer on the guitar. So we'll see how it goes. Let's put on a mask and spray some coats of lacquer. So guys, it's been well over 16 hours since I sprayed the last coat of the clear lacquer, so it's time to spray another couple of coats. And at this point I can really see I'm starting to build up a good amount of finish, and at the same time I can see there's a tiny bit of texture or orange peel showing in my finish, and that is nothing to be worried about. It's pretty normal when using a spray can or an aerosol that you have some texture or some orange peel showing up in your lacquer, and as long as you don't have any major drips or the texture isn't too excessive, just keep applying some coats of lacquer. First of all, it will smoothen out the texture with every consecutive coat, and you start to build up enough thickness for eventually level sanding and polishing the guitar to get that mirror glass-like finish we're all looking for. So I'm going to shake this tent a bit more, put on my mask, put on all the ventilation, and we'll spray another couple of coats of finish. Yeah, the final coat of lacquer on the guitar has fully cured, and in total I sprayed 6 coats of the primers, the Nitorlack primer, using about 2 cans of the primer spray. And for the top coat I sprayed 10 coats using almost 3 rattle cans worth of the Nitorlack gloss spray, leaving I think just enough to do another coat, or if needed do some touch up. So I like to have some backup material, and if you like to use these products for yourself, please use the links in the video description down below, and by using those links to get some Nitorlack products you'll be helping me and supporting the channel at no extra cost. So yeah, if you're interested, use those links in the video description. For now, I'm going to put this guitar aside for approximately 21 days, 3 weeks, to let it fully harden so I can fine sand it and buff it up to a high gloss finish. But due to the magic of video editing, I'll be right back with you guys in just a second. It's been 3 weeks since recording the last clip, and now the finish on the guitar should be fully cured and almost ready for fine sanding and polishing. But before I go and do that, I always like to add some conductive shielding paint to all the cavities on the guitar. This not only helps to prevent some unwanted noises, but it also looks very good. First thing, of course, is masking the guitar, and I found this self-adhesive masking paper. Ideal to do things like this. The conductive paint has fully cured, so it's finally time to start fine sanding and polishing the guitar. And I'm going to use, of course, the Nitorlack sandpaper, and I'm starting with 1500 grit. And if that grit clogs up too quick or it takes too long, I'm going back to 1000 grit before going up the grits again to 1500, 2000 and 3000 grit before taking out the polishing compounds and start polishing the guitar. Of course, I'm going to need some water. And a bit of dishwasher soap just to break the tension. So I'm ready to start fine sanding. I'm going to take a strip of sandpaper and an eraser as my sanding block. And with just careful circular motions, I'm going to sand the entire guitar one section at a time. I'm not going to sand the entire guitar in one go. I'm working on a section until it's nice and smooth, and then I go to the next section. Level sanding your finish might seem counterintuitive because the goal is to remove any shiny spots from your paint job. Shiny spots are the low spots, and we're trying to get the finish as smooth as possible using various grades of very fine sandpaper, 1500, 2000, etc. And in my opinion, it's a very relaxing job, just take it as slow as you can. Make sure to refresh the water you're using to wet sand the surface of your guitar frequently, and you should be alright if you go up the grids 1500, 2000, 3000 like I said before going over to polishing. So yeah, the end goal of fine sanding is getting a nice smooth dull surface. So I'm done level sanding the guitar. I've sanded it up to 3000 grit, and as you can see the guitar is now evenly dull or has a very matte shine to it. There's no visible shiny spots anywhere, so the guitar is now ready for polishing to get it to that real glass-like, mirror-like shine. And to do so I'm going to use the Nitorlack polishing compound. It's a two-stage process, using a cutting compound to get rid of the final scratches left by the sandpaper and to get it to the first stage of that high gloss mirrors-like finish. And then of course I'm going to finish it off with a finishing compound to get rid of any swirls and get that deep high gloss and depth effect we're looking for. And I'm going to apply these two compounds using various polishing pads. Nitorlack provides these two kinds of pads. The white one is a hard pad used with the cutting compound, and the black is a very soft finishing compound, of course, finishing pad to be used with the finishing compound. And if you don't have a buffer or a polisher, you can get these Velcro backings that you can stick these pads to, and you can use a cordless drill or anything to polish the guitar. You could also do this by hand, but it will take you a while. I'm in luck, I have one of these very small polishers that I can use to apply these polishers, and I'm using also a hard pad. In my case it's yellow, it's the hard pad, and the red pad is a very soft pad for the finishing compound. So without further ado, I'm going to get this guitar to a mirror-like finish. Of course, start by shaking the compound very well. So let's open up the container. And instead of spreading the compound onto the guitar, I'm going to load my pad by just adding a tiny bit of compound onto the pad, and I'm going to smear it onto the body. Just to be safe, I'm using a oscillating polisher instead of a rotating one, just to give me a bit more control, because a rotating polisher might be a bit too aggressive, and because I'm new to this product I'm going to take no chances. Here we go. Low speed to start off with. And I can feel by the texture this is a relatively aggressive compound, so take care. I don't think this shows up on camera for anyone that's worried that I'm burning through the finish and that I'm not polishing wet enough. I can see there's moisture on the body, so it's still wet, but it doesn't show up on camera. Only the first stage of polishing yet. wipe off any residue. And here we have it, guys. This is the first stage of polishing, and we already have a nice shine and some depth in the finish. Next step is of course the final super finish with a soft pad. Here we go. So I'm finally done polishing the guitar, and it took me way longer than I anticipated, but here is the end result. Look at that shine, look at the reflection of the lantern or the light above the workbench. Maybe you guys can see yourself, and look at that maple, and also the black limba on the back. Same quality reflection at the back as well. And same goes for the neck, but it's a bit hard to show on camera. But yeah, although it took me way longer than I expected, I'm very happy with the end result, and that's why I took my time to get it to absolute perfection. And I had to go back and forth between the cutting compound and the super finish compound on several occasions, just to get rid of any swirl marks, any tiny scratch that might be still present, or any imperfection in the finish. So I kept at it, kept polishing with these two compounds until I was very happy with the end result. But I have a confession to make. I also added a third step by finishing the entire polishing process with the Rupes Uno 1 Pure Ultra Finishing Polish. And this is a polish that gets rid of any swirl marks that still may be present in the finish. And yeah, like I said, I'm very happy I took the time to do so. And of course, besides the guitar, I also did the control cavity cover plate to the same quality of finish. So both the guitar and the cover plate are now ready for assembly. Add a bridge, add some tuners, pickups, strings, and get this guitar playable. But unfortunately, that will have to wait until the next episode. I hope you liked this one, and if you did, as always, let me know by leaving a like, leaving a comment, question or a suggestion in the comment section down below. This really helps other people to find my content and enjoy it as much as you do, and in the long run it will help me to grow my channel and make it possible for me to make these videos. If you like to try out some of the Nitorlack products you've seen in this video for yourself, or like to support me and my channel, please check out the links in the video description down below. If you use those links to make your purchase at Nitorlack, you'll be supporting me and the channel at no extra cost. So that's it for this episode. Like I said, I hope you liked it, and of course I hope to see you all in the next episode. But until then, as always, take care and bye bye.